All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful buttons on the entire internet, that Buy Now button. It seems so simple, right? But that one little click, it sets off this incredible chain reaction. And in this explainer, we are going to follow that click to really understand the massive world of e-commerce, from the very beginning to the very end.
It kind of feels like magic, doesn't it? You click a button and a few days later, a box just shows up at your door. But it's not magic. It's this huge, super intricate system of technology, business, and logistics all working together. So what actually happens behind the screen? Let's dive in and find out.
So just to make sure we're all on the same page, let's define what we're talking about. When we say e-commerce, we're not just talking about the moment you pay. It's the whole journey. From the ad that first caught your eye, to the secure checkout process, and even the customer support you might need after it's delivered. It is the full digital shopping experience.
Here's our roadmap for this whole thing. We're going to start by traveling back in time to the very beginnings of online shopping. Then we'll meet the key players in today's digital marketplace. After that, we are going to lift the hood and look at the tech that makes it all work, weigh the pros and cons, and finally take a little peek into the future.
So, how did we get here? I mean, this seamless experience that we totally take for granted, it wasn't built overnight. It's actually the result of decades of innovation, and it started way before most of us even had a dial-up modem. You can really see how each era just built on top of the last one. It actually kicked off back in the 70s, believe it or not, with businesses just figuring out how to swap digital documents. Then, of course, the World Wide Web in the 90s just blew the doors wide open for retail. The dot-com boom gave us absolute giants like Amazon and eBay, and now we can buy something directly from a video playing on our phone. It's been a pretty wild ride. Okay, so who are the actual people and companies involved in all this buying and selling? It's not just big stores selling things to us. The online marketplace is way, way more diverse than you might think. Let's break down the 4 main ways it all works. You've probably seen these acronyms before, right? B2C, B2B, and so on. Well, these 4 models pretty much cover every transaction you can possibly think of. It covers everything from a company selling to you, to companies selling to each other, and even you selling something to another person, or even back to a business. Let's start with the 2 heavyweights. B2C, or business to consumer, that's the one we all know and use every single day. Buying a book, streaming a movie, ordering food. But B2B, business to business, is the hidden giant here. It's a much, much larger market where companies are trading parts and services with each other. It's really the backbone of our whole economy. Think about a car manufacturer buying steel, or a software company selling licenses. That's B2B. And then you have the models that really empower individuals. C2C, consumer to consumer, that's platforms like eBay or Etsy, where anyone can become a seller. And then there's C2B, consumer to business, which completely flips the traditional model on its head. This is the gig economy in action, where a freelance designer, for example, offers their skills and services directly to a company that needs them. Okay, now for the fun part. Let's get a little technical. We're going to peek behind the curtain and see the actual architecture, the guts of the system that powers every single online purchase you make. It's all built on 5 distinct layers, and we're going to walk through each one. Think of it like you're building a house. Layer 1, the network. That's your foundation, the physical internet itself, all the cables and servers. Layer 2, messaging. That's like the plumbing and the wiring that lets all the data travel in a standard, organized way. Layer 3 is the content. That's the paint, the furniture, everything you actually see and click on. Layer 4 provides all the crucial services, like your security system and your cash register, payment gateways and logistics. And finally, Layer 5 is the policy, which is like the building codes and local laws that everything else has to follow.
Now, as amazing as e-commerce is, it's not perfect. It's created some incredible opportunities, but it's also opened the door to new risks. So let's take a really balanced look at the advantages and the disadvantages for both the businesses doing the selling and for us, the buyers.
You can see right here that there are clear trade-offs for everyone. For businesses, the chance to reach a global market is unbelievable, but that also means you're up against intense competition from literally everyone else online. And for us as consumers, the convenience is just unbeatable, but it means we give up the ability to actually see and touch a product before we buy it. And we have to put a lot of trust in digital security. It's a constant balancing act. All right, so we've looked at the past, we've looked at the present. Now let's turn our eyes to the future. The pace of change is definitely not slowing down, and there are a few key trends that are already reshaping what it even means to shop online. This right here, this might be the single biggest change that e-commerce has brought to the world of business. The old model was all about the product. Here's what we have for sale. The new model is all about the customer. We see what you're looking for, and we can help you find it. Thanks to all the data we generate, the entire strategy now revolves around anticipating what customers need, not just pushing out whatever is in the warehouse.
And brand new technology is what's driving this big shift. Artificial intelligence is what powers those sometimes creepy, but often really useful product recommendations. Augmented reality is starting to solve that can't touch it problem by letting you virtually place a sofa in your living room to see how it looks before you buy. And there's this thing called headless commerce, which is a real game changer. It basically separates the pretty storefront that you see from all the back-end machinery, which lets a brand sell things through a website, a mobile app, a smart speaker, you name it, all from one single system.
So all of this leads to a pretty fascinating question. As the line between the physical world and the digital world keeps blurring, and as every single click becomes part of this personalized journey, what does going shopping even mean anymore? It's becoming less of a task we have to do and more of an integrated experience in our lives. What do you think that future is going to look like?